Hey, it's Empress Rose. Welcome to our collective reading for the week. These are collective readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. As I was getting ready, I was looking at my scrying ball. I saw a question mark that was upside down. So perhaps a question mark that's the beginning of a sentence. The question mark. Yeah. And then I was like, well, I wonder if I can turn this question mark right side up. But then it turned into a snake, which was like a rattlesnake type thing. Yeah. Oh, and then there was a question earlier as I was meditating to prepare for this. It was a question. I hesitate to say it. It was why me? It wasn't something I was really thinking on, but it was but with the question mark, now that seems important. That was a question. I'm not really sure in which way, just like the snake seemed to be smiling at some point and reaching out with some serious fangs to bite at another. The why me had a sense of possibly being stated both ways. So let me fix this here. All right, so from the Oracle decks, the Moonology and Work Your Light, I have a little full house here, actually, yeah. So communication is key, new moon in Gemini. So some sort of communication coming in here. We have two new moons actually, and since we are headed towards new moon, that makes some sense. We have new moon in Virgo and new moon in Gemini. That's really interesting because the new moon in Gemini looks like it contains the new moon in Virgo right here. But so communication is key and a time to give rather than take. So this seems very clearly like starting a conversation, starting off a topic, initiating communication. There does seem to be some sort of like opening of the eyes, being able to see something seems very clear here too. But I think that there's like a partial sight here. There's still that it's new moon energy, so there's still quite a bit hidden, quite a bit unknown. But there is like a start of a conversation. It looks like give rather than take can be like really thinking about your attitude and your control and what you have to say and what you're bringing to a conversation. So maybe it's not even you necessarily initiating the conversation, but you being very cognizant and aware of what you are bringing to the conversation. So it does seem to be talking about a conversation where we don't know where it's going. We don't know necessarily where it's going to end up. There's quite a bit unknown in this conversation, but there is a sense of being very self-aware of where you're at, what you're feeling, and what you're thinking, and making sure that you are being precise, being clear as you bring that forward. And open communication, a commitment to open communication. These things can be very difficult, especially since we can have like a lot of shame and nervousness around communicating some more difficult things, or even just like not necessarily difficult things, but just very personal things, very intimate things. So there's a sense of really being aware of the energy that you're bringing to a conversation that may be a little bit tricky, or at least important enough to show up in a tarot reading. And I did want to note that several months ago, as many of you know, I moved, and in my new place, I got Jack a little treat, and he has never sat in the top of the tree, and there he is napping in the top of the cat tree, which is very unusual. That's a very unusual thing, and I find it interesting that he jumped up there as I was starting this reading. So I would guess that, you know, as I was talking about this conversation, that it would be unusual. There would be a need for you to bring your best self and you to be very clear in this. And it would be unusual enough to come up into a tarot reading, and then we have Jack doing an unusual thing, the highest level. So, and then we have the Work Your Light. So we have Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising. You are the Oracle. So this one really is to me about this one, your own energy, your own elevation, your own learning, spiritual growth. Again, you are the oracle talks about to me that you are the conversation. There's a conversation that is critical. You have information perhaps that other people need. And there's actually like several, yeah. And then we have awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. So again, we have this like learning, upgrade, a new level of something, reaching a new level. But there is like a sense of an important conversation, learning something important and integrating that into your understanding perhaps of your past. So like in one way, you are both giving and receiving information that changes who you are in the world and who you perceive yourself to be. Vibration rising and energetic upgrades. This almost, I've never seen this before with these two cards, but this almost seems like the same card. Learning, growing, and really integrating the material or integrating something that you've already learned. But there does seem to be both a give and a take here, a giving and receiving of information, of learning. You are the oracle, so you're speaking in a way that is elevated speech. And it's just both of that one just hits that note so well, like about what you're bringing to a situation, the vibe you're bringing to the situation, and how you're going to be speaking about yourself, about your life, about other people, about a situation, and being just very aware and cognizant of how you're coming into a situation and what your vibe is coming into that situation, and also coming into a conversation. We also have awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, and integration. So we already discussed this. This is a little bit more new moon energy, but it is learning something new about yourself or a new way to be. I think we got that card a couple weeks ago. And then we have the ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. This is not my favorite card in the deck, just because it has this sense of a little bit of difficulty for a spiritual purpose. So it's reminding me of this awakening as far as like learning something and growing, and how that's not always easy to do, and that's not always comfortable. It's not always a comfortable situation to learn something new about yourself or even commit to growing. So but this is talking about, speaking of discomfort, it is talking about you are safe in difficulty. So if there is a difficult conversation, you can feel safe in that. If there is something, there could be like just a difficult navigation of something where just communication is really important. Keeping a good attitude is very important. Keeping your eyes open and being very aware is important. So it may not even be a conversation. It might just be a series of events where you need to be having very clear communication. You need to be making sure that your attitude is on point, and there may be a way that you learn something. So the ever unfolding rose, so keeping your heart open, being safe in difficulty, and everything sort of happens to be a reason, and everything will be okay here, even though you all may be being stretched here, stretched open. Yeah, there may be some way in which you are stretched here, and it'll be maybe a little tricky to keep a good attitude in a situation, but keeping the communication open, and yeah, a little bit tricky to navigate. It's happening for you, not to you. That's actually a really good mantra. I like that mantra. It's happening for you, not to you. Now that can't be true in like abuse situations and stuff like that, but that can be true in a lot of other, because those you just need to get safely away from. So nothing like that is what that means, but just like calamities. I want to say calamities. I didn't want to say calamities, but I wanted to say calamities. And understanding that these are for your benefit. Okay, so, from the Dreamscape Oracle, we ended up with 4 cards. Oh, we have the space turtle again. We had like the space unicorn last time, but we did have a space turtle like a few times before. Slow and steady wins the race. slow going emotional growth though, but this is like really slow emotional growth. This isn't an epiphany. So I like it with this awakening, and I like it with the ever unfolding rose because it's this slow emotional growth. So it shouldn't be too much of a shock to the system. It's just a continuing process that is going slowly and does represent emotional growth. And I think also with the safety and difficulty, right? We have the turtle with the shell on his back, the protective shell, the safety within difficulty, and the slowness. So this ever unfolding rose, there's slow movement forward, but there is a lot of safety. You are protected in this emotional area, in this emotional situation. We have the raven here. So the psychopomp, the communicator, the very clever, being very smart, really using your mind, problem solving, solution driven, right? So problem solving as in focusing on the problem and then trying to solve this problem that must be solved, versus like creative solutions, creative, my mentor talks about this a lot. Creative, solutions. Create, not solutions, because solutions to me talks about more, can be very problem focused as well, but creative explorations into improvements on a situation, into improving something. So, but being smart, being clever, using your tools, using your words, Raven, about communication also, and we already have this, we already have this Gemini card here about communication being very important, and both of these are air signs. Well, the raven is the air sign, sea turtle, water sign. We have Palomino if we want to have an earth sign in here. This would be it. Palomino is work hard, play hard energy. There's also a little bit of a stud muffin coming in here. And don't they know it? There could be like hair could be really important. Maybe someone with blonde hair, a lot of blonde hair could be very important. But it is like a little bit of a work hard, play hard vibe of strength. There could be some freedom. And the Palomino seems really important. Like, is there Palomino horse? I mean, I know, like growing up, my Barbie horse was a Palomino. And that tanness. Interesting. All right. Well, there could be a horse involved too, very literally a horse, actually. And then we have the path. We make the way by walking it. Repeated activities. There could be a trail. You could be walking on a trail. You could be horse riding on a trail. But there is a path here. Some kind of trail and some sort of possibly a repeated pattern, and possibly a trail that is you've been down before. So again, with the sea turtle, there's not like a really big surprise here. There's maybe a path that you've been down before. Interesting, maybe even a trail ride. Or even a hike of some kind. The path. You make the way by walking it. This could be about communication too, and about clear communication. And repeated use of clear communication. All right. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. All right, that was an exciting sneeze. All right, I'm gonna shuffle this deck one more time. Splitting it here. From the bottom of the deck, underlying 8 of Swords, false imprisonment, feeling like you can't do something when you can. It's a matter of opening your eyes, which we have represented here. A matter of opening your eyes. And looking up, past, present. All right, lots of sneezing going on here. I'm guessing that has some kind of significance. I don't know. Past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Oh, I love this reading. This is really cool. This is really cool. So yeah, this is a really cool reading. Okay. So the Eight of Swords, again, with the raven and the communication is key. Swords being communication. There could be some way in which you haven't been able to communicate. You haven't been able to freely thinking, right? The swords are about thinking. And whenever the Eight of Swords comes up, it talks to me about, the redemption song, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds, right? She's free to go, but doesn't feel like it. So there's a thought process here that needs to happen, or that is happening, that brings freedom. So this is more like the truth will set you free. Like at first it might like gross you out or discourage you or make you really mad. Sometimes truth is really beautiful right on the face of it. What could gross you out about the truth is that you didn't see it before, that you didn't open your eyes earlier. Like here she's got a cramp in her legs and her back hurts. And when she finally looks up and looks and sees that she's been free this whole time, she just didn't see it, right? So the choices, we have a choice once we know that we have a choice. And I've said this before with this card too, because it's, once you see that you had a choice all along, or that something was an option all along, it can be really discouraging for all the time you spent imprisoned when all you really needed to do was open your eyes. So anyway, so forgive yourself for the freedom you didn't know you had. In the recent past, we have Two of Wands, a very practical card. I'm here, I want to go there. Here we have the full moon. I think this has to do with about like really knowing something fully, seeing something fully, wanting something and just thinking very practically. Okay, here I am. I do have a lot of capacity and capability here, but how do I get from here to here? I would like to get up here. I think there's a sense here, Two of Wands has never come in before, but a sense of seeing something very intuitively and wanting to get there, wanting to go to the place that you know is like your place, or that you know you belong, or that you know something intuitively, but there's a sense of needing to take practical action. And maybe there's a dream that can't be achieved at this point, but there is still a longing for the dream and a longing to know something. I think there's like a longing for like a stronger knowing, more clarity about something. But there are practical considerations. And maybe in some way you've gone as far as you can to seeing this as clearly as you can. But there's still, this isn't the sun. We have the moon out here. There's still a lot more clarity that's longed for. But there may have come a time in the past, in the recent past, perhaps the distant past, where you did see something a lot more clearly than you had seen it before. It was very clear. But there are like, okay, but show me, but what is this? How does this work? I see this clearly, but I want to know it more tangibly. But it's Two of Wands, so there's a sense of intuition here. And maybe there's just a sense of seeing like what needs to be done. In your current situation, this could be you, this could be somebody else. Emotional maturity. This person knows how to handle, they have depths, they have King of Cups. There's communication. They do, we see him with his mouth closed, but there's communication all around him. And there's a sense of being able to stay steady during as tumultuous feelings arise, as tumultuous feelings come forward. There is quite a bit of depth here. There's quite a bit of emotional maturity, though. There's someone here that is very emotionally mature, is handling some sort of tumultuous waters very well. They may be communicating well. They know how to have their feelings, experience their feelings, and not be tipped over by them, not be upended by them. They allow themselves to experience the full range of feelings, understanding that feelings are communication, feelings are another sense of the body, like sight and ears. They give us and hearing, like they just give us a lot of information about what's going on around us. This person maybe they feel a little concerned, a little worried. They're seeing something that has them a little worried, but they're handling it just fine. They're like very casual. Okay. Inside, though, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in their emotional, I want to say body. In their emotional body, there's a lot going on, but they have selected body language or some sort of language, perhaps body language, unspoken language here, that shows a casual, that doesn't show the full inner turmoil or inner, the depth of their emotion. There's a very casual stance here that's not reflecting the depth of their emotion, and that could be part of their emotional maturity, is not trying to stir things up, not trying to, there's a time to stir things up, but this person's just really feeling right now and possibly communicating something about those feelings, but the depth of it is not available. They are handling it, though. They're not like falling apart on the inside. They're just like, all right, these are big movements, these are big emotions. I'm just gonna stand here on the back foot and lean into this a little bit, but not really like flailing around or letting other people know exactly the depth of this person's feelings and emotions. So there's someone here and that seems very casual, seems very offhand, but there is absolutely quite a bit going on under the surface. Your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, the tower, you're worried about a crisis, a sudden crisis, a health crisis. You're worried about things falling apart. You're worried about an explosion. There seems to be explosiveness coming out in this one, or like something just falling apart. This seems like you don't want something to fall apart, but you're very concerned that it will. You're very concerned about a crisis. I think, worried that a crisis is going to happen, worried that something's really going to, so this, between this King of Cups, like this King of Cups could represent you. And this is what you're afraid of, is this like something completely falling apart, something exploding, blowing up in your face, collapsing in your arms, coming undone, something in your life coming undone. And here this anxiety is way in here. It's deep, deep, deep anxieties. And this could be a little bit of what the Swords is talking about. It's like this thought process that holds you. You're free to go from it. You're free to think about something else anytime you want. But your fear is the tower. It's like everybody's fear is like these stable structures in our life just suddenly falling apart, being blindsided by something, a sense of waiting for the other shoe to drop, a sense of being blindsided by something, a sense of right? Because at some age we have all been blindsided by something, either a sudden death or a sudden loss of a relationship or something like that. There can be these like sudden things. So, and maybe you're remembering something too. Like the fears of the future can definitely be based on, you know, actual experiences that we've had in the past. There may be concern here about trying to cling. If something falls apart, will I try to cling to it? Will I try to hold it together? Will I explode with it? Will I crumble as this other thing crumbles? Or am I too enmeshed in something, entwined in something, so that its destruction is also my destruction, which is not true, right? That's a thought process that can keep us trapped in places, that if this thing falls apart, then I will fall apart. What's the issue here is Knight of Pentacles in reverse, the oak tree, the slow moving energy. But Knight of Pentacles in reverse can be either someone without a plan, there is no plan, because in the upright there's like a pretty clear plan, that may just be moving very slowly, but this could be absolutely no plan. And then there could also be no communication. Someone that, like in the upright, we can have someone with a plan that's communicating the plan. Oh, this has like director energy today, because, you know, a director of like a play or film or something like that both has to have the vision and then has to be able to communicate the vision, and they have to do both things. Any loss of either one of those things means you have a very bad director or leader, whatever. So so this could be someone without a vision, or someone who has not communicated the vision, or someone who's not communicating at all, either because they may lack vision because they are incapable of having a vision, there's not a vision possible, or they may lack communication about the vision, or maybe it's lack of communication about a vision that they don't have, so they're not communicating about something they don't know. Or, you know, but if they do have a vision, they're not communicating about what they're seeing or what they're planning or what they are expecting. So there can be like a lot, and a Knight being about communication, it can be about a lack of communication. And here we have communication is key. And then here we have a person who's not communicating clearly, if at all. And it might be they're not communicating because they don't know what to say. They might be communicating because there's no plan, right? Two of Wands is sort of this planning energy. So I'm kind of thinking maybe there is a plan, or maybe there is something, maybe there is a plan, a very practical real world plan, and it's just not being communicated. In your environment, reasons to hope, signs and symbols, and reasons to hope, the Star card, Aquarius energy. This is reasons to hope, being divinely guided. It's a really like hopeful, special card. Like the bottom, these next two cards are really amazing. We have sort of these practical issues, these falling apart issues, but the Star card is that there are reasons to hope. It's not the Sun card because it's too distant, too in the future, too distant to be the Sun card. But it's a distant sun, and there's reasons to hope. There's a fairy god, there's like the spotting of the fairy godmother, or there's some sort of the Star is the biggest hope card. So that's in your environment. Either someone else is feeling very hopeful, or there are actually reasons to hope. You need to allow yourself to have, look at these two structures. This one is very flimsy and temporary. And I just feel like there's so much overlay in how this artist, Katrin Wellstein, depicted these two cards, which I've never really seen. The Eight of Swords is this hopelessness card, and then the Star card is full of hope. These structures look really similar to me. There's an angel trapped in both of them. So this looks like, to me, this being in your environment, this is the reality, is that there are reasons to hope, and that the structure is not actually about to crumble like this one. It's not about to crumble. So you're worried about something about to crumble, and this is saying, like, look at this. This is structurally sound. This is a temporary place that you need to get out of, and you need to get into reality where there is a much more structurally sound situation that is actually signaling hope and has a place for hope. This is where hope resides. And it could actually be an actual building in your environment where there is some communication of hope there. But just the temporariness of this Eight of Swords, of this feeling trapped, feeling stuck, feeling hopeless, feeling, it's such a temporary place. And then the juxtaposition next to the Star card, where we have this like strong, structurally sound, beautiful building. So it's really cool. The hopelessness seems to be in your mind, and the hope seems to be a much more concrete reality. So there are reasons to hope. There may be a plan afoot. There may be something practical reasons to hope. Your current situation or your to-do list, Nine of Cups, be proud of who you are. You could very easily be this King of Cups, and you're meant to, with this Nine of Cups, be very proud of that. You have a lot of emotional maturity. You are able to weather these storms. Even when you're afraid of something happening, you are able to weather these storms. The reality is not this and not this fear, but the reality is this King of Cups and this Nine of Cups. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of what you've accomplished. Be proud of your emotional maturity. It's something that we never arrive at. And I think that here is being represented by the Nine of Cups, not the Ten of Cups. It's a constant sense of arrival at more and more emotional maturity. There's always more to be had, unfortunately. And fortunately and unfortunately, there is always more emotional maturity to be had. So, but this is being proud of yourself. Be proud of who you are. And I can see that with this Palomino here, being proud of who you are. And emotionally content. Just sitting under this King of Cups. It's like you've weathered some serious storms. There may be some tumultuous. And if anything, if this King of Cups is you, if anything, this is saying, do keep this stance. No matter how nervous or upset or deeply emotional you are, do keep your confidence, do keep your wit, do keep your poise about you. Remain poised and remain calm and confident, even though you may have some tumultuous stuff going on inside. Possible outcome, Page of Wands. So this could be a person that you'll be meeting. This could be you in the future. This is someone who's becoming inspired, looking closely, wanting to look more closely at something. There's an excited energy, a surprising energy, which is interesting because the sea turtle, I was feeling no surprises there. The ever unfolding rose, I was feeling like a slow process with no surprises, but this could be someone who is very surprised, very inspired, excited, surprised. It could be a young person. This can be someone just starting out on a spiritual journey, a creative project. It's going to represent a person, and it's going to represent a person whose inner fire has been sparked, and their curiosity has been sparked, and they're feeling very alive and awake and ready to grow and learn spiritually, creatively. You could be being new at a creative project or a spiritual project. This is student vibes. The page is going to be a student, a child, someone who's new at something, and they're very curious. There is a lot of curiosity here and excitement. And maybe some subdued excitement. What I'm seeing here is like all of the emotions are just very subdued here. And we see that with the sea turtle. I'd say the sea turtle is this King of Cups right here. The slow and steady emotional growth and emotional energy. All right. From the Dreamweaver's Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. All the diamonds in the sky. Oh, this has got to, oh my gosh, it's the star card. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. This is wishes. The star card, wishes, dreams, making wishes. Perhaps someone has made a wish. The star card, you know, shorthand for the star card is wish fulfillment and the possibility of it. So all the diamonds in the sky, but it seems like there are multiple wishes. And there's stars. It's the dandelion with so much potential for growth and making a wish. Hold on, I'm going to check the book because it's a fairly new deck and I haven't seen this card very often, which is kind of sad because I love it. You guys, this is so relevant to everything we've talked about. It's really cool. It's card number 10, by the way, which I think is interesting because when we were talking about the Nine of Cups, we were talking about the 10. So the Nine of Cups would be not the full fulfillment and there always being more potential. And then this 10, so limitless potential and possibilities unique to you, moving out of limiting beliefs, reaching for the stars and trusting you will reach them. And then this first line was actually really cool. Often the only things that separate us from the life we want to live are our beliefs and inner stories we tell ourselves about them. Perhaps you've been conditioned to see yourself as limited, less than, and unworthy. Maybe you're worried about the consequences of stepping out of your comfort zone right now, which is what I'm doing by reading this. For the results of your expansion may not please others. Could it be you don't know the how? So everything looks like too much work and it makes you feel discouraged. So yeah, that seems wholly relevant to this. So very cool. And then the Wild Kuan Yin. One last card here. Our final prayer of this week's reading. Here we go. You guys, oh my gosh. And then we even have this awakening. Is starting to feel like this is really important too, this awakening card. So we have these two cards, the star card, and then we have the brightness of your future. This is so just delightful. Listen to your discontent. Oh, listen to your discontent, your yearning. You want something true. You should not just be quiet and get back to your day job or how things have been as if you're making a drama out of nothing. You are meant to be moved by these feelings, to become more alive. Trust in the brightness of what is meant to be. And I think like being moved by these feelings and coming more alive with this awakening card, this ever unfolding rose, and trust the brightness of what is meant to be. This sort of the star, the diamonds in the sky, these cards of destiny. Yeah, just not telling yourself like, yeah, just not right, deadening your feelings. I think we're still like coming in with confidence, but we're not deadening those feelings. That would not be King of Cups energy. And these feelings are meant to move us. And with the cups here, the King of Cups, the Nine of Cups, and the sea turtle, I just feel like there's communication about emotions, trusting that your emotions are guiding you. I can even see a little bit here of like trusting some, like if you're uncomfortable, that's meant to make you start looking around and seeing the opportunities and possibilities. If you're uncomfortable here, there's a purpose to that. And you're not just like, man, this is so uncomfortable. I guess I have to be uncomfortable. I guess this is just my destiny. The discomfort is meant to make you like stretch a little bit, do some yoga, look around, see what else there is. It's meant to move you forward. So All right, well, hopefully that this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me on these readings. I very much appreciate it. Have a wonderful week. Bye.